The purest knockout I ever scored was right on a place called Noble Road. It was like quite a notorious area in Clifton Estate, Nottingham. And what happened was I put a complaint in about the noise that was coming up from the flat upstairs where I was living. I was living in a flat below somebody's flat, in a two-story, one flat there and one flat there, and I was on the bottom floor, ground floor. And what happened was I put a complaint in, and I come out my ass one night, and I got out of prison about a few months previous to this, and I actually moved into this flat because my younger sister could not cope with the noise that was coming from the girl that was living upstairs, having parties and all that sort of stuff all the time and that. So I exchanged my flat in the Meadows area of Nottingham to a flat in Noble Road, Clifton area of Nottingham, in Clifton, and moved into there, and I put complaint in that. Comes out my place one night, comes out my flat one night, and there's a gang of like 20 or 30 like all ranges of all ages there, 30 of them. Like, and they was all coming up to me going, "Oh, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead." You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean, putting a complaint in about the noise and all that. Right? The girl was playing darts and making loads of noise, walking across carpetless floors with high heels on at 3 o'clock in the morning, playing darts, and you could hear everything. You know what I mean? Like, partying all the time and that. So anyway, I said, look, I don't want to trouble. Do you know what I mean? The last thing I wanted was trouble. I just done 2 years and 3.5 months in prison, and that was for fighting and stuff. And what happened was basically, there's all coming up to me, touching me, grabbing hold of me, going like, "You're dead, you're dead." Do you know what I mean? All this sort of stuff and that. I was, look, I don't want no trouble, right? I was just being my genuine self, right? I don't want no trouble. I didn't want no trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like, I did not want trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like, as simple as that. Like, and so I was going, no, I was being kind and polite and everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't mouthing off back at them, even though there was all crowding around me, mouthing me and pushing me. I was doing my best to talk myself way out of the situation. There was like 20 or 30 of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I was just didn't want no trouble anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I it got to a point where like there was that making that many threats on me. They said they're going to get a shotgun and shoot me. Do you know what I mean? One of them had a shotgun that was going to shoot me and stuff like this. And I was just being like, kind of like. Then all of a sudden, I put my hands up to God, like, because they all cried around me. Because I was on my way to my brother's, like in another part of Clifton that night, and just nipping down to see him. And all of a sudden, like I just like I thought this situation's getting worse and worse. So I put my hands together and I looked up at God, looked up to the skies, and I like prayed to God, God, please help me here with this. Then all of a sudden it's like I comes like comes back from the prayer, and my eyes went straight onto this like gang of like 3 or 4 guys that was walking up down the street towards us, and I saw this one stocky guy. And I was very slim back then, by the way. I'm not big nowadays, but I was very slim back then. This is back in 1998, and I saw this one big stocky guy, like, so, and was shaving head and everything. I had hair back then, by the way. Bit of a pretty boy. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was. Didn't look like a ex-boxer or ex-convict or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Proper pretty boy in my looks and stuff. And I saw him start getting out. As one of the people ran up to one of the gang that was surrounding me, ran up to him and said something to him as he's walking towards me. And I knew this. God told me this is the guy you're here to deal with. That's what God told me when I come back from my prayer and my eyes went straight onto him coming towards us. And God said to me, "That's the one you're going to have to deal with. That's the one you're meant to deal with." And I saw him all of a sudden. He got told by one of the members of the gang who ran up to him. He got told something and he started checking out like mobile phones and that, like 3 or 4 mobile phones, started handing them to his mate who had a mountain bike, who had a mountain bike and stuff. And I thought, I was a drug dealer for starters. I knew that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because who carries 3 or 4 mobile phones around with him? Do you know what I'm saying? And this back in 1998. And anyway, so I knew he was the one I was going to have to deal with. And next minute he comes up and starts shoving me, going like, "Oh, that's my cousin." Do you know what I mean? You're fucking putting the complaints in to my cousins. I'm going, "Look, mate, I don't want no trouble. I'm going to reverse the complaint. I'm just trying to, I'm backing off out of the situation. Light's coming into me, do you know what I mean? Because I'm being like, what you would perceive as being scared. Do you know what I mean? You would perceive me as being scared. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that was scared. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people there. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though I just done that time in prison and dealt with like so-called daddies in prison and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, which I've got a video on here about, by the way. Terrorists dealt with in prison. You can check it out. It's in my shorts. And I'm like backing off. Going, no, I don't want to trouble, mate. I don't want to trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he's getting braver and braver because this is what happens with a bully, like an intimidating bully type guy who's got away with beating people up before and bullying them, probably all his life. Some hard case fucking bully, like drug dealing gangster act. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's coming at me now, getting braver and braver in his mind. He's playing out a situation. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's seeing me as a pussy, as a scared guy who's backing off, going, no, I don't want to trouble, I don't want to trouble, honestly, I don't want to trouble. And I'm backing off like at a fast rate, and he's coming at me faster, walking towards me faster. And no, honestly, I don't want to trouble, mate. Honestly, I don't. Do you know what I mean? I don't. Honestly, I won't put any more complaints in. This is what I'm saying. Looking like a proper pussy. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking like. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm scared and stuff, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared of a fight when it starts. Just on that one. I know that, but you don't know that. He's just seen somebody who's scared of him. And the bully's mentality is they see somebody who's scared and scared of him. They're going to go and attack that person because they think, yeah, I've got him. He's replaying a mindset. He's replaying a video scene in his head where he's had somebody scared him before and he punched him and that and they backed off and he's beat him up or whatever. And he's replaying that video thing in his mindset. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's playing in his mind, in his mind's eye. He's playing that sort of scenario out in his mind's eye. I've got another one here. I'll beat him up. I look tough again. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's never lost a fight in his life. Do you know what I mean? Like, 'cause he's never really been in a fight. Never fought anybody who's actually going to be who's prepared for this sort of shit. I mean, like, so anyway, he's coming and all that sort of stuff. And then anyway, next minute he goes for it, and I'm like, as I'm backing off. Do you know what I mean? Goes for it. Goes to throw a punch. Because like with things to throw a punch at me, I just swiftly step to the left and comes back. I can't do it. It's my right hand, but you'll see it as my left hand. And just like light as a feather, I felt light as a feather. No real physical force behind it. Just a fast. Because in his mind's eye, he's seen a fight. He's seen in his mind's eye, he's about to beat up somebody who like many people before him, who he's beat up before, is a pussy. Because I'm acting like a pussy. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how he's seen it. I mean, like, and so his mind's eye, he's living in the past in his mind's eye. I've got another one here. I want to look tough again. Do you know what I mean? Like, and whereas I'm living in the present, I'm being a genuine human being. I don't want no trouble, and I'm like trying to get out of it in the best way I can. Do you know what I mean? In the kindest and nicest way I can. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so I'm living in the present moment, and the light's just shooting through me. The light's just shooting through me because I'm scared. What you call scared, but it's light that's coming. It's light that's coming into me. It's light that's coming into me. Only the day before this happened, my spiritual teacher at the time, we talked about fighting and that, and he said to me, by the way, this is the synchronicity of the event, and he said to me, well, you know, when they go for it, you just do it, don't you? And that had like sunk in my head. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I'm an ex-boxer. I had loads of street fights and that, fights in prison and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Against tough guys and stuff, so-called tough guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fought of as tough guys, real big, mostly tough guys, whatever. When I was a skinny, slim guy, and so like. That stuck in my mind. So when this guy goes for it, do you know what I mean? I'm living in the present moment, letting the light through me. So I feel light as a feather when I just slip to my left, and come over with a left, half left cross. I'd say a left cross. I'm not southpaw. I'm orthodox. Come over a left cross, clips him on his chin, and he stands there like he's been struck by lightning, stood in one spot, like straight up, stood there for about 2 seconds. And then falls flat on his face, completely out. And my first instinct was, I'm angry now, because like all these people have been bullying me outside my flat, which was my sister's flat, like I mentioned. And I'd gone there just to sort the situation out. They'd all seen me as a pussy and everything, and all of a sudden they're all like stood aghast, because this is the toughest guy in their group, in their gang of 20 or 30 that was there, and he'd just been sparked out by somebody who was looking like a pussy. Like, and so like all of a sudden the rage comes now, like that I've been forced to do this. Do you know what I mean? Like I grabs him and I pulls him and I turns him over from his face. His face is all bust up because he's landed on his face, and he's still sparkle out. And it's a good, because and it's a good job at that moment. Do you know what I mean? That one of the women, this mixed race girl, like start shouting, no, he's had enough. And then like come to my senses. You know what I mean? Because obviously he's had enough. I've never hit anybody when they've knocked out. They've been knocked out. The people that I've knocked out before, I've never hit them when after they're knocked out. I would never do that. Do you know what I mean? But I was in a rage. I just wanted to see if he was still awake, and I was just going to give him a mouthful. But he wasn't. He was completely out. Still. I stood up and I was right, you fuckers, you know what I mean? I've just done fucking this time in prison, do you know what I mean? Like, nah. You've took me to this fucking point, do you know what I mean? You think I was some sort of pussy because I was trying to back out of a fight? No, listen, it takes a brave man to back out of a fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, it takes a brave man to not want to have to be forced into violence, do you know what I mean? Like, and that was the end of that situation, and I got, like, respect off of the neighbour from upstairs after that. I didn't plan on living there for a long time anyway, do you know what I mean? I wasn't planning on living there. I moved to Sheffield not long afterwards to live with a friend at the time. But anyway, that was the purest knockout I ever scored, and I call it the purest knockout, right? Because I did everything I could to get out of that situation, everything I could to get out of that fight, everything I could to get out of having to react in a violent manner. But the light came through me, and I dealt with the guy, and it was God's will, because I prayed to God, and God had shown me instantly. After God had shown me that, I said, God, just help me in this situation, and God showed me why I was there. Do you know what I mean? And the reason why I'm telling you this, why I'm telling you this now, is like whenever if you're a bully watching this, if you're something like a gangster act or whatever, just watching this, you think twice, right, before you come across somebody you see as scared, right, trying to get out of who's backing down from you, because you don't know who you're dealing with really. And even if you think you know what you're dealing with, if you're putting that scenario out in your mind that you can beat this person up, you're going to beat this person up, you're going to do them in because they're looking like they're scared, you just remember what I've just told you, right? Because you might be in for a big surprise, because that guy was that night in for the biggest surprise ever. And I don't imagine he ever went and started on anybody who was acting scared ever again. Do you know what I'm saying? He learned his lesson. The girl upstairs learned her lesson. There's no more gangs hanging around that flat after that. Now what I'm saying to you is this. Heed this warning. Bully, gangster act, whatever and whoever you are. Because whatever you perceive as kind, right, as a weakness, you're so wrong. Because kindness is a strength. And politeness is a strength. And somebody who looks like they're scared, they will be proven to be strong in their weakness, as I was that night. And you might get the same sort of treatment next time you try and bully somebody. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, peace to you all. Especially you who are being on the receiving end of bullies and gangster acts trying to terrorise you. Trust me, they're lost. Do what you can to talk them out of the violence that they want to commit. But when it comes down to it, defend yourself like I've just told you how to. That's the truth of it. Okay, just because I'm an ex-boxer and everything don't mean it was just that. No, listen, of course that shit helps, but when you got the light of God in you, you can do what I did. Trust me, I promise you that. God bless you.